Okay, Mfuneko, so let's get started. So just, I mean, for people that don't know, Mfuneko is, he played for the Proteas. He's a big hero of mine, and he's one of the fastest bowlers in the world, but he's got quite a big story and stuff to tell. So Mfuneko, just to get things started, can you just tell us about yourself, you know, who you are, where you came from, and a little bit about your experience?
Okay, Sean, good morning. Good morning to everyone. Thank you guys for allowing me to open the bowling today, this morning. So my name is Mfuneko. I was born in Middle Drift, close to Alice, and then at the age of 10, I moved to PE to stay with my parents. And then I started cricket, did mini cricket. Nowadays it's called KFC mini cricket. So that's when my love for cricket started. Growing up, I used to watch Donald bowl. So he's been my hero throughout my life. And yeah, back in the day, we didn't have TV at home. So whenever I would have like a 50 cents, I would go and watch TV next door just to watch cricket. So those were the days. And then the highlight for me would probably be when I received a call from Dr. Ali Baha saying, well, Gami, you're on a standby for Alan Donald. So the guy I've been watching throughout my whole life. So I was on a standby for him, only to find out that he wasn't going to play. So he was not even there. Boucher told me on our way to the hotel. So I got excited and nervous at the same time. Yeah, the night before, there were so many phone calls, people saying congrats, well done. And yeah, I was just nervous. But I knew I was ready because the build up towards my call up was good. I went to the West Indies, you know, I played for the EP Jumbos back then. So I was really confident that I was ready. It's just that I was nervous of the media, everything that was connected to that. So yeah, I played my first test match at Wanderers. I really bowled quick there. I remember, you know, my first over, nicking off Adam Parara straight to Darrell Cullinan, he dropped it. And then I think the second over again, same thing happened. Nick off straight to Cullinan, and he dropped it again. So as a youngster, you don't really swear to your senior players, but I felt like doing that. But Shami came to me and said, Gami, I'm really sorry about that. You're really quick. Then we went to Durban. I even bowled even quicker there. And then I went to Cape Town. Cape Town, that's when I got injured. And then we finished the test in 3 days. And then after that, then to cut the story short, and then I never came back to the Proteas, but I worked hard again, but the real injury that I've had was the shoulder injury. It never came back. And I've had stretch fractures. I've had all sorts of injuries, but I always came back. But the shoulder injury that I had was the one that really put me back. Even today, I could still feel a little pain in my shoulder when I throw. I decided to just stop playing, and then I went to coaching because that's always been the love for me. Coaching, I started cricket academy in Motherwell, in my township. And then after that, then that's when I went to the University of Fort Hare. Then I've been there for almost 9 years. And then from the University of Fort Hare 2 years ago, I went to the Warriors setup, where I became the assistant coach. And then I was exposed to so many things there because we had the MSL. I was a bowling coach for the Nelson Mandela Bay Giants. And then after that, then I came back to the Border. So now I'm the head coach for the Border team. I guess I've summarized almost everything.
Yeah, I was actually there for that first test match that you played, and I remember watching all those drop catches and stuff off your bowling. I find it really frustrating from my side too, as a fan. Now, Mfuneko, now at the moment you are the coach of Border, and even though people might see you as like a professional coach, you actually have a lot of things that actually happen to you at the moment that's very similar to any other coach. So, for example, you're also stuck at home. You also have to do coaching, via webinars and things like that. So, what training methods and how did you communicate with your players during lockdown?
Sean, it's been tough. I don't want to lie to you, because when we stopped, we didn't finish our season. Sometimes you wrap off the season. You do one-on-ones with the players. You put plans in place in terms of when we're coming back, what are the things you need from our players. So we didn't do that. So everything just went boom. So luckily, I was not a big fan in terms of the webinars and Zoom and Microsoft and all those things. And I had to educate myself in terms of doing those things. So now we've been doing the Zoom meetings. We've been having all these webinars, getting all these guys speaking to our players, getting guys training whilst they're staying at home, giving them programs of what we need to do. And basically, at the moment, it's more computer stuff where we just talk over the computer. You know, we've got the WhatsApp group as well where we just communicate in terms of what needs to be done. And guys now are sending me videos of what they're doing at home, and also what else is there? And it's videos and also the workload that we are giving the guys. So we've got it like trackers, daily trackers that we do, where guys run and they'll just show us, okay, I did 5K today and I did this today. So basically that's what we're doing. And also we just want to be safe at the same time, because this coronavirus is not a child's play. And I've seen people dying. So we just want to be cautious as well.
Most definitely. Just so the people that actually follow us know, this is a Q&A session. So if you've got any questions for Mfuneko, can you please send the questions through to us on the chat or the Q&A list, and we'll ask the questions to Mfuneko. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been easy for the guys, and it hasn't been easy for you guys going back. But now in the last week, if I'm not mistaken, you guys have been able to go back to coaching. What were the first steps that you took, getting the guys back into training, properly being physically able to deal with the guys?
Sean, we just saw the statement saying, well, we might be able to do the one-on-ones, but there's still things that we need to do, things that we need to apply for. So there's nothing formal as yet. But for me, I'm just waiting for something that is formal from CSA to say, okay, you know what, guys, we're starting to play in January. And then I can work backwards in terms of, okay, now I need 3 months at least to work with the guys. So for me at this stage, even if we are allowed to practice, then I would probably start somewhere in the middle of September to try and get the one-on-ones going and getting guys together and all that. Because there's still so many things that are still need. How are we going to practice? We're going to be wearing masks. How is it going to be like? So many things that I need clarity on. So I'm just waiting on CSA to just say, you know what, these are the guidelines. These are the things that you guys need to do and all that. And when the guys are running, they need to wear a mask all the time. Which now it's going to be tough to breathe for the guys if they're wearing masks. So what type of a mask the guys need to have and all those things. So yeah.
So then as coaching goes, so now you've got the guys in camp for when you are back and you can actually start coaching. I think what are the things you're going to aim at attacking first and making sure the guys are ready for the season? I know it's difficult if you don't know exactly when the season's going to start, but what plans kind of have you got in place to get the season started or get the guys fit enough so when the season does start, the guys will be ready?
Okay. Sean, what we did last season, we reflected on what we've done. We didn't have a good season. There were so many things that I really wanted to work on with the guys, especially our betting. Our betting did let us down last season, and those were the things that I wanted to tackle. We've got one or two guys, new guys now, contracted. We've got Wesley from Easton's joining us this season. So we wanted to strengthen our betting. And also, if you remember, I got employed very late last season, late in August, where I just had to come in, get ready for the provincial T20 in September. So I didn't have off-season with the players. So now when I came in, I told them my plans in terms of, okay, what the style of play I want. I wanted attacking cricket and all that. But the guys didn't really know what I meant when I said, well, let's just play. Just go out there and play. Had I had like a season with the guys or an off-season with the guys, then maybe I would have had enough time to say, okay, you know what, this is how we're going to do it. So, yeah, those were the things. And then also there were a few things that I needed to fix, the mindset of players. And I felt sometimes the guys were too comfortable. I know there were things that from CSA we need to fill in, like equal opportunities for players and all those things. I felt the guys were really too comfortable. They knew if I play, then I'm gonna, even if I fail, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna be picked. So I had to make the statements there and there to drop guys and then to pick the certain guys. And also I didn't know what quality I had. So if you look at my team last season, there's about 22 players that got an opportunity. Schoolboys like Furi, the fast bowler, Lilita Reid, they also got opportunity. Those are the schoolboys. So I just wanted to see what I have in that province or in my province, so that by the time this year or by the time we start playing, so I know what my quality is, and then I stick to those guys and back them in terms of, okay, this is my 13, and then whatever happens, these are the guys that I'm going to be looking at. And unless there's injuries or cares and whatever, then I'll bring in new players. So those are the things that I'm looking to do. And also I want us to work hard in terms of our bowling. So one-on-ones for me are going to be the key. So if you come back, then I'm going to be working one-on-ones with the guys technically and other stuff as well. So yeah, can't wait.
I've already got 3 questions that have come in. The one is, how does a Protea player feel and cope when told that their sporting injury would more than likely ruin a professional career? How did you cope and how did you feel?
The first line, Sean, how did the Protea cope?
So, yeah, how does a Protea player cope and feel and cope when told that their sporting injury would more than likely ruin their professional career? So, yeah, pretty much like what happened to you.
Yes, it's tough when you know that it might be the end. But again, it comes back to how strong you are in terms of your mind. Because whenever I had the injuries, the stress fractures, because I remember, I think I was still 19 then, I had 4 stress fractures in my back. And I told myself, you know what, I'm going to come back. And then I did. And then I was bowling even quicker then. So it comes back to your mind, how strong you are. Yes, the doctors will do their jobs and they will tell you, you know what, you can't walk, you can't run, you can't do this, but it comes back to you at the end of the day. So I got motivated. Every time I got injured, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to come back even stronger. And then I did. But the shoulder injury was the one that really, as much as I tried, but I couldn't get my pace back. So I guess, well, there's certain operation that you need to think about before you even say yes to, because as much as I had to do this operation, but I was still bowling at 150 then. I remember in Cape Town, as I had this shoulder, I was bowling 150, and then and I got a fracture in my femur somewhere here. And then the physios and the doctors, they said, you know what, might as well do the shoulder because you're going to be out for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Had I knew better, I would have said, no, leave the shoulder alone. Just let's wait for this fracture to heal. But I was young. I had to listen to what the experts were saying. So, yeah, even in my research in terms of the shoulders, I've seen the baseball players, when they do these shoulder injuries, it's not easy for them to come back. So it could be the career-ending operations. But I was young, so I couldn't say no. So I had to do it.
I think one of the great things that you told me is that in a sense, I mean, you would love to have had a big career, but in the sense that it taught you a whole lot of stuff that you can teach others though. So through your experience, it makes you a better coach because you know how to deal with these things.
Yes, John. I'm so proud of myself. I know everywhere I go, people keep on saying, you know what, Gami, you could have been a billionaire or you could have been a millionaire, PT, because of your injuries and whatever. The fact that I went all the way, I played for the Proteas, even if it's only 3 test matches, for me, that's huge because I've always loved coaching. I've always loved wanting to help others where I come from. So the fact that now at least I know what is needed at the top, then it's easy for me to speak to these young players that I work with and say, you know what, you're not working hard enough, or you're working too hard. So just hold on or whatever. So at least I know I can gauge whatever now because I've been there, I played there, and I know what's the situation like. So I'm so proud of it, and I really love coaching. So it's always been my first love.
I've got a question here. How are you progressing compared to the other provinces? You need to be competitive when you get back up and running. Do you talk to the other provinces and see what they're doing to prepare, or do you guys communicate amongst your provinces just to help assist each other?
Yes, we do. If you look around the country, all the coaches, we sort of like we've got a good relationship. We're friends. We played against one another or with each other. So we do speak. For instance, now I work closely with the Warriors coach, which is Robin Peterson and Pete Water. So whenever they have the webinars, so they will always invite my players. So that's basically what we're doing during this lockdown. And we've had guys from the West Indies, Devin Haynes, and so forth. So there's so many things that we're trying to get right. And then the other coaches as well at the Lions, you've got Wandile, Wavu, Nandile Kyali, guys that I've worked with in the past. So we just try and check, okay, what they're doing there, so that I can also implement in terms of our players as well. So it's been tough but good at the same time, because we are forced now to know how to use it, our laptops and Zooms and everything. So.
I've got a question from Mercy. I think you know her from the mini cricket program in KZN Inland. She asks, how important is nutrition and a training program for youngsters? Her son is a 13-year-old. He's actually doing exceptionally well in cricket. He goes to St. Charles in Maritzburg, and he's doing exceptionally well as a cricketer. So how important is nutrition and a training program for a youngster that age?
And it is very important. If I look back at my career as well, I think that was one of the things that was picked up in terms of nutrition. I said, well, when I was young, I didn't really have good nutrition. Which they may be right, but at the same time, I feel when you come from where you come from, you don't ask your parents to say, to say, you know what, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. You go home, you eat what is cooked at home. So if there's no food, then you eat what is there. So there were things that you don't have control over. But now looking back, nutrition is really important. Training program, that's even more important, because had I had someone telling me what are the things I need to do at the young age, the training that I need to do, I promise you, I would have been playing still. So I had to do things by myself. I had to run, because what I was doing, I was running every day. Like wake up in the morning, run 5Ks, and then come back. I'll go to practice at St. George's Park and bowl 6 overs, 7 overs there, or we'll bowl for an hour. I won't be satisfied until I feel tired, because I felt, well, if I'm not tired, then I haven't done anything. So yeah, training program. That's what I'm teaching the guys, and the nutrition. But the nutrition side of things is not easy, especially with the players. Sometimes we give guys meal allowances when we go on tour to say, guys, please get a proper meal at night. But the guys will go and buy fish and chips or something light because they want to save money for when they come back. So it's a tough one, but yes, nutrition, good.
Now, Jason Minna actually asked a question here. He says that sports is opening up around the, he's jumping ahead of questions. So Jason asked, I used to be a side-on bowler, but my school coach made me change my action to front-on. What transition damaged my lower, the transmission damaged my lower back, even until today, pretty much. He's still got problems 5 years later with his lower back. Is it advised to change a bowler's action from side to front or vice versa? Does it not increase the risk of injury? And I think also it applies to the person's natural ability and style.
Yeah, in terms of changing bowlers, it depends on how young you are and how old you are. Because I feel if you're young, then that's fine. You can change the action to side on or front on, depending on whatever, like you said, whatever comes naturally to you. But what we do as coaches is it's more like looking at the bigger picture. So if you're a mixed action now, it might be good for school cricket, but the longer or the higher you go, the more cricket you play, then you're gonna struggle with your back. So it's always nice at school level to just make sure you look that the player mustn't be mixed action. It's either you semi-side on or you front on or you side on. So maybe the coach did pick up something that's why he said, okay, you know what, you need to change this and whatever. But if you were side on, you need to stay side on. You can't be side on from the bottom and front on from upward. So those are the things that maybe coaches sometimes feel if you front on, then you'll bowl quicker. If you side on, then you'll bowl quick. No, it's more trying to get everything going towards straight directions and no mixed action and all those things. So yeah, just little things that the coaches need to look at. That mixed action, that's a no-no for us.
Okay, now I've got a series of questions which all relate to each other. So they're talking about the current situation of development facilities in township areas and stuff. So, I mean, I've been to Mr. Ngombela's tournament with you, and there's a lot of work being done in the background with, individuals with Cricket South Africa, with the different sporting units. Can you talk to us about the development of facilities in township areas, and also something like a Timber Vuma Foundation or the JP Dumini Foundation that's trying to grow cricket where in, let's say, township and rural areas?
Sean, what CSA is doing is great because they started introducing the RPCs and the hub system. But my only problem is the fact that people now, they only rely on those hubs and RPCs. I still feel, especially in our townships, we need our schools to play cricket. We can't only rely on hubs and RPCs. I feel if we can have more facilities at our schools, get schools in our townships playing together, then we would be winning. Because back in the day, if if you go to schools, we used to play cricket in schools. We used to play mini cricket. So cricket was really good. We had teachers that really wanted to stay behind and work with us, and coaches. They, if you look today, none of those teachers are there. Soon as the bell rings and everyone goes home, so coaches are not there. So for me, yes, it's good to have those hubs and RPCs, but let's have our schools active. Because now, if you look around the country, at 40 years, we do have facilities. At Ngumbela Park, like you said, yes, there's proper facility there. It's beautiful. And also all the RPCs and hubs, yes, they try and get those fields maintained and looked after. But I still feel our schools, what Temba Bavuma is doing, and who else is there?
JP Domini.
My lefty man, JP. Yes, it's great, and Gary Kestin as well. We need things like those. But again, let's start at our schools. That would be my answer to that question.
Yeah, I think that getting as many schools involved as possible, more high level cricket will actually improve the cricket that you get.
Yes.
I mean, there's two phenomenal tournaments in the Eastern Cape around that Fort Hare area. Can you talk to us about them? I mean, I've only been to one and I'm dying to go to the other one. Can you talk to us a bit about those two tournaments and who do they reach and actually what kind of players play in those tournaments?
The tournaments in December, you're talking about those tournaments in December. We've got Amacale Gusha in December, which is good because, all the villages, they play on the 26th of December up until the 30th. And then you get the finals and semi-finals with unions. So you get your villages playing, and then they select the best players from those villages to play against other villages. So it's actually good in a way that cricketers in our villages don't miss out. So in December, whilst people are partying and doing all those things, then at least guys are busy in cricket. And then you also get the Ngumbela tournament as well. So the one starts from King Williamstown, Middle Drift, King Williamstown. So those are the tournaments. And then the other one from Alice to Fort Beaufort. So that's a Ngumbela one, where they also start earlier, around 20th of December. So it goes right through until January the following year. So those are good tournaments. And that's why we're so rich in terms of cricket in our region, because all the players that have left the province, when they come back when they come back home, they take part in those tournaments. So it's more like sharing of information in terms of what they do in other provinces. And I, as a coach as well, a border coach, get to see those players. Maybe if I want to steal them, it's easy for me to speak to them on the side and say, you know what, I want you back. So can we talk? What do you need? And all those things. So it's good to have those tournaments. Yes, with the guys don't have sponsors at this stage. It's going down, but I think if we can maybe package it properly. Yes, Ngumbela is sorted, but the one in King Williamstown, I think it needs to be packaged properly and then get the sponsor, and then it runs properly as well. But there are things on the pipeline that people might look at, and then hopefully it won't die. But those are the good tournaments.
And it's a great place for talent identification. I mean, you've played there, Makai and Tini's played there, and a lot of the Warriors players have actually played in those two tournaments.
Yes, definitely. We get to see a lot of young players. And like I said earlier on, you see these young players and then they share information with the senior players. I remember when I was young as well, I would play for EP. Makaya will play for Border. But in December, we make sure if we're not playing anything during Boxing Day and whatever, so we'll be there. The people around the villages will come and watch us play. So it's something that every player, even if you've made it, even when I was playing for South Africa, I wanted to go and play. But now you get abused because if you bowl quickly, the youngsters will just tell you no, will abuse you, and then we get angry, and then so we decided, what, it's not healthy anymore, because these youngsters now, they are heroes, but what they're saying to us is actually not right. So we decided to just stop playing, and then scout and be part of the management and all that. But it's great. It's good to be in the Eastern Cape during that period.
Okay, now Lynn Butler from Media 24 has actually asked a question here. And you've actually said that you actually are willing to talk about it, and that's that Black Lives Matter movement. What's your take on the movement? And the question is that being you was the second Black African player to play, but being only one of 7 cricketers to play Test match cricket, what do you think about it, and what do you think should be done to actually improve that? And actually, if I'm not mistaken, you're the only one who's actually gone to, has stayed in a rural school and gone to rural high school and that kind of stuff. All the other guys were picked up and put into your Model C or private schools.
Sean, that question is actually a good question, and I'm willing to talk about it. I'm one of the 40 players or ex-players that supported Lungi Ngidi in terms of Black Lives Matter. I feel guys have been quiet for so long. I've been quiet. Yes, Makaya did speak the other day about his loneliness in the Proteas setup, when guys, or if he goes for breakfast, guys wouldn't come and sit next to his table and all those things. For me, it didn't bother me, because English was not my first love. So I was always lonely. At night, or once you're done playing or finished playing, you don't really want to go out and still be under pressure when it comes to speaking English. So it didn't matter to me. So when I got into that national team, so it was always myself and Makaya. So we would just go to the townships. Even if we've got back in the day, they used to hire kumbis. We used to have like 5 kumbis and all that. But we would notice that, after breakfast, if we go to the ground, and then I'll jump in. If Makaya is driving the bus, I'll jump in with him, and then no one else will come. And then we'll just drive off. So it became norm to me. So I didn't care. So we had a kumbi to ourselves. So we didn't have to worry about, okay, guys, what's happening tonight? Is there anyone going for supper? So we'll give guys the keys. So they let us have that kumbi. So yeah, it's something that needs to be addressed, because now we've got youngsters that are coming through. Lucky I played back then. I saw how things worked. It was tough. That's why for me, I decided, let me just do what I love, the coaching. But now coaching these young players that are coming through, there's a huge difference, because now the players that we have, some of them don't see color, especially the young players at school level, under 19s. They don't see color. The only problem is their fathers and their older brothers, they still have that mindset. But nowadays, Teshile and Jason Niemand, I'm telling you, those kids, they don't see color. They're just kids. They just play together. They enjoy each other's company and all those things. So we just need to just try and get the mindset of the older players, their dads, stop seeing that, okay, black this, black that, and all those things. And I did experience certain things at Forte as well when I was coaching there. Lucky I had Greg Hayes with me. Whenever I want something to be done at the university, if I go straight to the guys at the university and say, guys, please, man, I need the nets to be done this date and whatever, the guys will ask me, who are you? So you can't tell us A, B, and C. But if Greg says, guys, we need nets on this date, I'm telling you, things will be done just in no time. So that mindset,
Sure.
Black people as well, because if you look at the University of Ford, it's mostly black people there. But now it's tough unless a white man tells them what needs to be done. So if I'm the black guy telling them, then who are you? So it's tough. So there's certain things that really need to change. So that's why I'm supporting what the guys are saying. And there's so many stories that are coming up, and yeah, I'm behind them all the way.
Cool. I've got a question from Russell here. He says, how long will it take Protea players to be ready after lockdown? They're going to camp on the 18th, so there's camps that they've got already. So I think they should be quite advanced.
The only difference between the Proteas and the amateur players, the Protea players, they actually know what they're doing. They know what they need to work on. So they don't really need a lot of time. So if they need to work on their fitness, they know in terms of skills, they know what they need to do. Whereas with our amateur players, the guys are still finding themselves. They don't know what really works for them. So we need to step in. But as a Protea player, you don't really need a coach because you can coach yourself. They've got all the information they need. So yeah, they will be okay. And some of the guys are working behind the scenes. I know there are people that go to the grounds and then do their bowling on their own because the guys are so disciplined. So yeah, the guys will be ready.
Now, this was like a question that was asked. It was actually asked about rugby, but I think it definitely affects cricket just as much. But now that there's no Kai Majula Week this year, or unlikely that's going to happen, what's going to happen to the players that were meant to attend the festival and were meant to attend trials and meant to be identified through the week?
That's the only question I was hoping you're not going to ask, Sean, because it's sad because I remember we did have a meeting saying, okay, you've got the under 18s or the under 18s, so it's that didn't go. So it's a tough one. I really don't have an answer for that, and unless CSA would just say, you know what, guys, let's give these guys that didn't go to these tournaments another opportunity. So we make it maybe an under 19 now instead of the under 18s. But it's so sad though.
It is. On that line, I mean, we've just been asked a question, and I don't think we actually don't know the answer to this one, and that is, when will school sports start with practices? We don't really know the answer to that. That we're going to have to wait on the government, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but again, on that, there was that notice that came say, well, yes, the guys can practice only one-on-ones. So schools, club cricket, they're speaking about next year, January. But again, it comes down to what government is going to say to us. Level 1, level 2. So you guys are going to, we don't know. We're just hoping that things will just be better next season or next year in June.
And just on that question also, we are going to have like a breakout webinar, which will happen on Thursdays. It starts off on the Thursday, the 20th, where we'll be talking cricket-focused. We'll have a cricket-focused talk. We'll have speakers from Cricket South Africa that will actually talk to us. And that question there will also be answered as we find out more about what the government really wants and what the government wants to do. So unfortunately, hands are tied at the moment. So back to the Kai Majula Week, and it's about the identification when it actually does happen. So what normally happens in a Kai Majula Week? So how do you actually identify a player, and how do you deal with the players once you identify them at the Kai Majula Week?
Sean, we all want something special. So we go there as coaching or as coaches to just look for something that is different, something that will catch our eye. For instance, I know in my team what I need. I need a leg spinner, someone who's going to be a wicket taker for me, someone who's going to be, when things are tough, you just throw the ball to, like this guy from Imran Tahir, yeah. Just like Imran Tahir, when something is not happening, you just throw the ball to that guy. So when we go to those tournaments, you go there, you know exactly what you want. And then once you get it, then you've already put structures in place. So if I get this player, then like for me, if I get a player, I know I've got 2 academies at Border. I've got the Forte Academy, I've got Border Academy. So I'll start speaking to those coaches and say, you know what, this is the player that I see. Can you look after him so that he can be closer to us in East London? For instance, if I can make an example, there at Forte, there was a guy called Kevin Mangro from KZN, a very tall guy. So we needed the fast bowlers because in my team, we only had very short guys, but they were quick, but short. So we just needed for something special. And then Victor Pitsang saw this kid, and then he called me, said, Gami, there's this kid. And then also Greg was there as well, said, Gami, he's raw, but I know you can work with him. You can make him better. He's tall, so we like the fact that he's tall. So can you work with him? And then Greg brought him to us, and then he spent his 3 years with us there at the University of Forte. Very lovely chap. And then he worked hard. And look at him now. He's doing very well for the Dolphins and for the Cape, what's that team now? MSL team in Cape Town, Rocks. So, yeah, those are the things that we do. If we go to these tournaments, we know what we want. And then once we get it, we don't look back. We just make sure that we look after that kid.
So this is also quite an important question with cricket, and I think with most sports, is that how do you think the lockdown and the coronavirus will affect kids getting into the game? So kids at home, they have a short attention span, they're online doing sporting activities. In the long run, will this affect the number of kids getting into sport?
I don't think so, Sean, because with this lockdown, it's making all the kids want to play cricket because they're hungry, they miss it. And I think by the time this lockdown opens, then a lot of kids are going to come out, and they're going to come out wanting to play sport. Yes, at this stage, they stay at home playing video games and all that, but at the end of the day, if the kid was part of a structure he's definitely going to come back. If he was in the academy, he's definitely going to want to come back. So I don't think so. And also it's a good thing on most of the players because now the injuries now have healed. So no one is going to come and say, well, my back this, my back that. So yeah, it's been a good time at the same time.
Back to selecting players. This is another question from Jason. How important is character when selecting a new player to come into the team, regardless of the talent that they are?
Character is number one for me. You need players with character because at the end of the day, it's tough there. As a batsman, especially as a batsman, you batting, there's only the two of you, and then you've got 11 players around you. They'll all come hard at you. So if you don't have that strong character or to just show them, you know what, I belong here, then you're not going to make it in cricket. So you need a character on the field and you need character off the field. Someone who's going to be able to enjoy his time with his teammates, go out with the guys, have fun, make some jokes and whatever. So yeah, for me, that character is number one in my list.
Now, I mean, when the guys are young, you can still try and help them build their character. So we had an example in the Kama Jewel Week last year where one of the teams was easily beating another side. They looked like they were going to win by 7 wickets. An ace under 19 batsman was batting, and then there was a run out, which he caused. Then he suddenly slowed down and went into his shoal. Then another kid ran out, and then he went even further into his shoal. Then you could see his instability. He was unsure of himself. Eventually losing his wicket when they need to bat it under just under 2 runs and over. Suddenly they had to bat it 5-6 runs and over. And at the same time, on the other team, one of the other bowlers, he actually picked up the energy that this guy was losing, he kind of picked it up and he actually demolished that team. And from a winning position, they went to a losing position. So how do you deal with the player when they get, especially at that age, into that kind of a situation, and from the guy that failed and from the guy that succeeded? How do you deal with it?
Sean, that's a tough one, because the only thing you can do as a coach is to try and make sure that you send a message to those guys that, guy, just forget about it. You know, it's like dropping a catch, and then you keep on thinking about it throughout the game. You're going to drop more and more catches. So what we normally do, and we said, please try and forget about it, look for another opportunity. So as long as we talk about it and get the guys aware that, yes, as much as you've caused the run out and all those things, but just look up, man. Just, the game is not over yet. So just give us a big 100 to something. So don't just go into your shell and all that. But it's more like knowing your, it's more like trying to cut, because you know you've got the 11 players. They're all different. So you need, as a coach, you need to know your players. Some players don't like to be shouted. Some players like to be shouted. So you just need to get that balance between those players and say, you know what, now with this guy, if I speak to him on the side, not in front of the team, then he really listens. So yeah, that's what I do as a coach, you know my players and know which ones are hard and know which ones a pain in the butt. But yeah, I have to deal with those ones, the ones with egos and all that. That's strange though, because when I went to the Warriors, having worked with the guys at the University of Forte, I find that some guys at Forte were more arrogant than when I went to the Warriors. You will get the guys that are doing well, the John Jones Smarts, the Eddie. Those guys are so humble, and you try to ask yourself, what's going on here? So the higher you go, the more guys are humble, and then the lower you go, the more guys are so arrogant, thinking they know it all. So it's more knowing your players and just, yeah, speak to them.
Then does that also come down to, because for some players, they like the fact that they're in the under 19, they make the under 19 team and something. But like a player like Tandantino, after his second World Cup, he was dropped from the side, but he was already playing for the Cobras. So how do you deal with that, where the guy, you know, in his mind, he thinks that playing under 19 is great, but actually playing for the Cobras is a much bigger step for the guy. And the same with a guy like Sia Plaiki. There's a couple of guys, Ruan to Blanche. There's a couple of guys that have gone through the exact same thing.
That is a tough one. I'm dealing with that as well in my team. It's hard to motivate those guys. You know, there's some guys that have been called up for the Warriors, and then they will go and join up the Warriors, training with them and doing all sorts of things. But when they come back to border, and then now the guys will just think, well, now I don't belong here. They won't give their 100%. So, which for me, it's not the right thing. So again, it comes down to sitting the guys down and trying to speak to them and say, guys, let's just, you know, whatever, or if you get an opportunity to play whatever game, just do your best. Give your 100%, and then yeah. For me, it will be just let's keep communicating with these guys.
Just a couple more questions. So the one came through that kids lose interest when they become teenagers, and it's often you know, they get distracted by either girls or, you know, the boys speaking wise, or peer pressure. So this is actually girls also. They love their cricket, and then they get told that no, it's not a girls' sport or something like that, which we all know is absolute rubbish. So how do you keep these kids, both male and female, in the game?
Yeah. Girls are a big thing, Sean, with these young players. I find it tough at the University of Forte. I don't want to lie to you. Most of the things I've learned is when I was at the University of Forte. We would have a game on a Saturday. On no, on a Sunday. But there will be a big party at the university where all girls will be there. There will be alcohol. There will be this and will be that. It was, at first it was tough. Up until I found a way for me to just get the guys, sit the guys down and say, you know what, guys, this is our goal. This is what we want to achieve. We want to win the league. We want to go to the club champs. If we win the league, we get 22,000 from border cricket. So this is our goal, guys. Yes, I know there's going to be these bashes, these parties, these drinking and all that. Please look at the bigger picture. And first year, we struggled. Second year, things got better. The third year, I was there. And then things got even better because the guys will still go there to those bashes. But they will say, guys, now it's 12. Let's go because we're playing tomorrow. So I'm not the one now going around and trying to get the guys down. So they will all come back around 11. And then I'll be surprised. I'm like, wow, this is good. But it comes down to you as a coach giving the guys a clear vision in terms of what you want to achieve. And then the guys will surprise you.
Cool. Then last two questions. And the one is, being a woman, Masa would like to know how to deal with developing young ladies. And has there been enough done at the hubs and RPCs to develop these girls?
No, Sean. It is sad because I feel women's cricket is on a rise now. We've had few ladies there, Aya Kaka at the University of Fort, Ayabonga Kaka, so he comes there. I don't think I've given her enough like I've done with the boys. Yes, now she's playing for South Africa, but I feel I could have done more for her whilst she was still there. So I don't think we're doing enough. And I think that needs to change from club up until at the higher level, us, the franchise coaches, the provincial coaches. We need to change our mindset. We need to work with these ladies. And I'm doing that with my coach at Border now. Trying to give advice in terms of, okay, this is what we're doing, this is my program. So I shared with her, but I don't think other people are doing enough, and we need to stop that. And we also started identifying the young ladies now at the KFC mini cricket festivals. And I'm telling you, Sean, those girls, you were there when we went to Mtata at Nomandi. Those girls, they can play. So we need to just change our mindset and just help where we can.
Now, the women's team is growing so much. They're becoming extremely powerful. And to think that they're playing against professional players. A lot of our women aren't actually professional players and actually matching up and playing against professional teams like Australia and England and India. So it's quite amazing to see what our ladies are doing. And then the last one that goes back to a previous question also is that it's more like giving a word of advice to guys that couldn't play in the Craven Week or Khaim Majola Week, to say, go on and you can still make it, but go to club and to other kind of things. So what would you say to those kind of guys to kind of keep at it, even if you didn't have the Khaim Majola Week? I think some of them have even been recognized already, so they will still be in the pipeline or in the eye of the selectors.
Yeah, Sean, my only concern or my only worry with our young players, is that they judge themselves by the Kaya Majola Week. The only thing, if I go to the Kaya Majola Week, then I'm going to be seen, I'm going to be picked. They don't see other ways of getting into the teams and all that. So if the guys can stop judging themselves in terms of that, then we'll be winning. Because there's club cricket, there's academies around the country, and I'm so sure that if you're good enough, CSA has got a plan for you going forward. So he won't let you just disappear out of the blue. So we need to start trusting the system. We need to start, we as coaches, we need to start working with those coaches on the ground, because for me that's very important. And it's something I'm also wanting to do here. Work closely with all the schools. Just know exactly what's coming up. Give them my 5-year plan to say, you know what, guys, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an attacking wicketkeeper batsman. What do you have there? Yes, you have. You know, I don't have. Can we work with that kid? And maybe in 2 years' time, we will be what we want. So we need to start thinking way ahead of ourselves, instead of just thinking, okay, what do we have now? Can we pick him? Can we not pick him? No, I think we need to start working with those things so that those young players know exactly what's happening. They know that, no, I'm in the system. I know Coach Ngam is looking at me. So that's what that's what I've been doing. I've been communicating with the players in SWD. There's a left arm spinner there. He's still young, but I keep on sending him like a WhatsApp, say how's things, what's happening with your life, and all those things, just to show him that, well, I'm looking at him, and he must just keep working hard, and guys need to keep working hard, because you never know when that opportunity will come. So I just want guys to know, when that opportunity comes, they should be ready. So they should keep working hard all the time. So that's my advice for these young players.
Well, we could continue for hours and hours and hours and end, because I've got also from my own side, I've still got a whole list of questions. So, but thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for helping us out today. I'll also ask some of the guys if they want to actually do another one with you at a future stage, or maybe we can even incorporate it in our cricket Thursday slot that we're going to have. But thank you so much. It's been completely mind-blowing for me. It's always great chatting to you.
Thanks, John, man. Thank you guys for inviting me. And yeah, I happened to open the bowling today. So yeah, thank you guys.